post images.
So where
I bet that was it.
Where we store our photographs was post images, but that's not what Carrie is talking about. Carrie is talking about, let me see if I can get to the right place to show.
Is it not something you made for us, I bet, in Google Drive?
Yeah, in Google Drive. So
okay.
I've taken them back out of post images and put them into the slides we had.
Okay, so for those of you who are just joining us, this is the free Q&A call for participating in the 7-minute-a-day social media challenge. It is broadcasting on YouTube, Facebook group, and Facebook page. If you would like to participate in this call, then you should click the link in the description to join us live on Zoom, and I will be happy to answer your questions about the challenge, about your business, anything related to makers, e-commerce, anything like that, I am happy to field and answer. So click the link in the description of the video and come join us. Carrie has, and I am Elise from My Schedule Biz, in case you don't know who I am. And Carrie has asked us a question. You guys can see my Google Drive, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I've asked us a question about something that is provided if you're part of the paid part of the 7-minute-a-day social media challenge. And so we're going to go into that right now.
Yeah, I remember this, but I never used it.
I didn't go far enough. Sorry, that was not the correct thing. Here we go. So this is all the stuff that's part of the paid challenge. And Carrie is using some of these presentations that I've created, which is one way that you can create your social media posts. And she was asking about how to get the images off once you've created them. And there is a video about how to use this. And you saw I have some instructions right here as well. But the long and short of it is, Carrie, do you have Slides Toolbox installed?
No, I don't think I do.
So go to the read first and make sure you've done all these things so that you can actually get it. The other thing is, even without Slides Toolbox, if you right click, you should have an option to, no, just kidding. Apparently that's not a choice. Let's try. Well, I think you have to have.
I have to install that. Yep.
And I did it, so I know you can do it, Carrie.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Can do it. That's the test.
Yep. Well, it can't be too hard.
No.
I knew there had to be a trick to it, but I just needed to do something that I had missed along the line. Because I knew you wouldn't have left us high and dry.
So what you'll do is you go to tools, you'll go
tools.
To, just kidding, you'll go to add-ons, you'll go to get add-ons, and you'll find Toolbox. I've already got Slides Toolbox. So
and then just open. Yep.
And it might do where it says, can I actually work? And then you'll tell it, yes, you can actually work.
Yep. And then allow. Perfect. Easy as. And then it'll let me do it. Okay,
so here's Slides Toolbox, and you can go to Export Tools. And I don't like it to save files to my drive because it puts it in the main drive folder. I want to be able to choose where it's going to go, so I always uncheck that. And then you can export slides as a JPEG, a PNG, or an SVG. So I would suggest JPEG or PNG, depending upon which one you want. And that's how you're going to download them. That's pretty much all there is to it.
What's the actual difference between the two as a tech challenged senior citizen?
A JPEG is going to be better if you're looking for something that has a smaller size, because usually JPEGs are going to be smaller than PNGs. You're going to want to use a PNG, though, if you want to use text, because the text will be clearer to read on a PNG, or if you want a transparent. You cannot do a transparent background on a JPEG. So if you want background, you have to do a PNG. But for this, you cannot do a transparent background at all. So if you're exporting from here, that's not easy to do a PNG. But PNG does have a tendency to look more crisp. So if you have something with text, I would usually use a PNG over a JPEG. But now for images and stuff, WebP is actually sometimes a better choice instead of these, because it's even smaller as far as file size goes. And if we're talking about file size, I highly recommend a thing that I'm not going to remember what it's called right now, because why would I remember what it was called? It'll come to me later. If you're going to be using an image on your website, you really should compress the image. And there is a specific, I remember now, of course, because I stopped sharing my screen. It is called Tiny PNG. This is the one that I highly recommend using. Before you put any image on your website, you should reduce the size using, Photoshop or Canva or whatever you have. I would recommend, depending upon where you're putting it, it's going to be a different size. So if it's a product photo, I would suggest maybe 700 pixels by 700 pixels. If it is going to be a photo that is going to show across the entire top of your website, so just like your intro section, then I would recommend 1200 to 1500 width, and then whatever the height needs to be based upon how tall you want it to be. Anything else? So if it's like going to be a tiny thumbnail for your collections or something, and it's not going to be very big, I would look at closer to 400 pixels by 400 pixels. After you have sized it to that size on whatever your editing software of choice is, so Canva, Photoshop, whatever, then come to tinypng.com. You can click or drag and drop and take your image, and it will compress the image for you. So you can see my original image here was 342 kilobytes, and after compression, it's 172 kilobytes. So for
half.
This is a huge difference, huge, massive. But you need to size it to the correct pixel size first and then compress it. Don't come in here, compress it, and then be like, it's still the same size. Well, the size is adjusted before you come in here, okay? So this is what I recommend for compression, but you need to adjust the size first.
I have a question about this compression stuff.
Okay.
I purchased a website building course several years ago, and I thought it was kind of, they provided something like that for us. And it just
is what you're talking about.
What?
Are you talking about a plugin on your website that does compression?
I think it was, yeah, and I think it does it for us.
So,
but I'm not positive now.
There are definitely plugins that do that, but two things. One, depending upon the plugin, it may do it in like scripting or something, in which case that size of that original photo is still loaded on your site, and then they just reduce the size that it shows up. That can still affect your site speed.
Yeah.
And two, I'm not a huge fan of extra plugins. So as far as I'm concerned, you should fix the image before you put it on your website, because you don't need to have that plugin. If you do the correct formatting before you upload a picture to your website, you don't need that plugin. And the fewer plugins you have on your site, the less likely you are to have plugins that are fighting, or they update this one and they don't update that one, and now your site crashes and your checkout doesn't work. Who knows why that image plugin causes your checkout not to work, but for whatever reason, all of a sudden your checkout doesn't work, right? So
yeah, there's lots of issues with the plugins from what I've seen in our help group.
So what I be teaching about website building, I don't know, a couple weeks for another course that I've agreed to help with. And that is one of the very first things that they asked me. Should we use, this was for Shopify. You're talking about a WooCommerce site, but I'm talking specifically about Shopify in this course. And one of the first questions they asked me is, should we use apps? Because they're called apps on Shopify, plugins on WordPress. Should we use apps on our site? What apps should we use? And I was like, you should use as few apps as possible. The only apps, in my opinion, that you should be using on Shopify is an app to get reviews. Right now, I recommend Judge Me. I have tried a bunch of others, but Judge Me is what I would recommend. You can have an app for your email provider if you need it. Most of the time, you're better off using custom coding on your email provider instead of putting the app on. And then if you're on Shopify, there are direct connections to Facebook, Google, etc. Those you need to use because they help you get marketing and such. That's pretty much it. Unless you have a very specific need. So if, for example, you want to have wholesale, okay, fine, get a wholesale app. But don't put 1,200 apps on your website and then wonder why it's so slow. Don't. every single one of those sites makes every single one of those plugins makes your site slower, makes your site have to go and get more code. So my suggestion is pretty much always don't use the plugin. If it's something you can do yourself, do it yourself. Now, if you've got a site with hundreds of items on it, I understand it is not easy to go back and edit 12 photos for every item. Not a simple thing to do, but from now on, upload them the right way.
So once I've taken it to tiny PNG, can I just save it to my computer compressed?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then just get rid of the original.
No,
so that
because you may want to use that photo for social media or for a blog post or for something else. So you
it's only
that
you
is
only
on your website.
for the okay. Yep.
Yeah. So
right.
I have like 10 different sizes of most photos that I have for my business, because depending upon where I'm using them, I'm going to use a different photo. So, and then also, you know, we talked about the difference between JPEG and PNG, and I mentioned how PNG is usually better for text, right? Well, you have to have a higher quality photo if you're putting text on it.
Right.
This is something
so it's only for your website that you're going to use the tiny ones.
So this is something I actually run into quite often when I'm building websites for people, is they will want to create an image and the image already has the text on it and they want me to use that on their website. This is actually not a good decision, because it means that I have to use a bigger image in order for the text to be legible and not look like crap. Mm-hmm. And it means that your site will be slower as a result. So you'll be better off to get the image with like a blank space where you want the text, and then to put the text on using the web editor, the website editor, because that text is loaded as text. It's not loaded as an image. So then you can have that exact same look, but the text will actually be clear and you can use a lower resolution image. Does that make sense? Did you follow that?
Yep.
So
I'm not putting text on any of them.
On your website, you never have text if you can avoid it. You can make.
So, for example, if
the text on the website,
I wanted measurements on the product photos, would I be better off leaving them off and just telling you what the measurements were?
So that is actually an excellent question, and what I just said, I would not apply to that statement at all. So I want to be clear. I'm talking specifically about things that have to be loaded on your site initially that will slow down your site speed. Because the way site speed works is it kind of judges what's going to be showing on your screen at the beginning. So when someone comes to your homepage, this is where I find this happens a lot. You come to your homepage. Let me share my screen so that I can show you the difference, so that it's more obvious what I'm talking about. So I come to my home screen. Pretty much every single website that exists has this giant image on the home screen.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And normally you have text on it, just like mine does.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But this text, you see how when I hover over it, it gives me the text editor? The cursor is not an arrow?
Yep.
That's because this text is actually part of my website. This is text I created on my website. It is not on this image.
Yep.
If I open, actually, I don't even think I can because the kind of code it is. If I was to open this image alone, there would be no text. There would be no button. None of this would be on it. It would just be the image of me in blue background. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So this, because it is above the fold, which means I can see it when the page loads, this image, in order for it to have text on it, would have to be massive.
Yeah.
Which would cause my site to load very slowly. Now, if I wanted to put an image down here that had text, you could probably get away with it. It would be okay. I would still prefer that the text was on the computer and not part of the image, but at least it's not going to have initial load times by being up here.
Yeah.
So if we were talking about a product, which I don't know why I went to that, I should have gone to this one to start with because it has products on it. If we were talking about a product, actually, let me go back. So right here on the page, you can see this is a list of all my products. This is a very tiny, small photo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a small photo. So this doesn't need to be a high resolution. This could be probably 300 pixels by 300 pixels, 400 pixels by 400 pixels. That would be fine. When I click on this and I go to my page, you see how now this is a giant image?
Yeah.
Same image. It's just now it's shown bigger. Does that make sense? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But this is still the only image that's actually loading. This one right here. These other ones are loading like a tiny thumbnail image. So it's not going to hurt my initial site speed coming to this product page to have the second image have text on it. Do you see how this image has text on it?
Yep.
Yes.
Not affect my initial load time the way that the main image having it would. So I just told you not to have text on stuff, but then when you go to my own website, you can see I have text on this picture.
Yep. Yeah. So
But it's where the image is.
it's only the
too.
initial
It's
one.
Where?
Yep. Where it is. Mm.
Exactly. So for you were asking about sizing. You should absolutely have sizing as one of your pictures because people do not read. So like here is my instructions on how to use Devil Clip. Tons of text. It's an image.
Yeah. But it's different, yeah. It's not the initial first one you see.
Right.
Yeah, it's not on your home page. It's under the shop and the products.
Right. So where
All
is that
right.
huge play on this also? So that was an excellent question. Thank you for asking that, Carrie.
Yeah.
All right.
That was.
So what other questions do you have? Any other thoughts, questions, concerns?
No, they've been my two big ones. I feel like I'm finally getting the foundations down. It's only taken me, what, 2 years?
It takes a while, Carrie.
It does, doesn't it?
Takes a while. And then you're constant. I've neglected the website completely. I probably have 800 and I don't have that many plugins. I did not put in everything, but I'm sure my site could be faster. So that's another project for another day. Well,
finally getting
Jay, in the social media challenge, are you taking that too, Carrie?
I am. I was only a month out.
I used to always get really confused about the share the knowledge and the beginner's guide, but I think I finally am getting it. Every time I take this, I've taken it. I think I've been taking these since before. I've been taking them since you went live on Facebook. You remember that and how problematic that could be? I've been taking them from the very first time you offered them.
Yeah, I think I've missed
finally
one or two in the middle.
I'm finally, I've taken I don't think I've missed one. So it's finally clicking better. Anyway, so I get to share the knowledge, but you could still, like on the list, your product can still be in the list. Like I now have that emergency or travel jewelry kit, a little round earphone thing that Elise suggested. So that could go on my list, like traveling this summer, or what to do when you travel with your jewelry when you travel, and then blah, I don't know, I'll think of something. So that would be share the knowledge.
Is that the
as far as beginners?
I don't even know.
Go ahead.
So before we continue on this conversation line, just in case anybody has joined in and is watching this video, if you have questions about the social media challenge that's going on right now, which is 7-minute-a-day social media challenge, where I'm helping you create 30 days of posts for free, or if you join the paid group, 4 months of posts, and you have questions, please join us. If you have any questions about e-commerce, about making, about anything like that, I'm happy to answer those questions. There will be a link in the description of this video that you are currently watching. Because I am doing this across platforms, I am not monitoring the chat on all of these things. So if you have a question in the chat, I will try and answer it after this call, or you can just join us live and I will answer it. Now, Madeline, you were talking about the share the knowledge and the beginner's guide. And how struggle with the difference between those two. And my question to you was, is that what posted today? Because I didn't make it to that because I was on another call and my power keeps going out today.
Yes.
No, I haven't.
It's
what the video was. The lesson was this today. Okay.
Yes, that's what I was asking.
And yes, that's today's lesson.
And it is one of the ones that we have struggled with time after time, the difference between the two.
Absolutely. And Elise explained it last time even further, and that helped me a lot. So I still sometimes will post something, I thinking it's an intro or whatever behind the scenes, and it turns out it's a beginner's guide even. So I still have that happening. And there's some posts that can do for two different things. But anyway, so now the beginner's guide, I do have, oh my gosh, I have trouble with that one. So today you said to tell a story, imagine a customer problem and explain the solution, and the solution is your product. Is that correct? I hope.
Sorry, I was
That's the one,
was
the
trying
one
to find,
I
No,
always,
it's okay.
talk about it more.
yeah.
So imagine the customer, think about their problem and tell a short story. Yes. So that's share the knowledge, not beginner's guide.
No, it's the next one where you have to use the
It's got
photo.
the double clip. Yeah, and the double clip was in there, but it's not you're not selling it. It's just in a list. That's not like selling it. It's just mentioning it.
No.
So, I know. Here's something I wrote on the side here. So can I send them to a blog type post on my website from,
That is-
like you talked about? I'm not exactly sure how to do that. You put in a link or something?
Yeah, you would put a link so they could do it. So depending upon the platform, it may have to say click link in bio, or it may be able to say the actual link in the post. So these were
because I know on Canva you can put a link into your image, into your text on your image.
That doesn't work when you post it to social. That does not work. No.
Oh, okay.
That works on the image. And so if you gave someone the image or the PDF file or whatever you're creating from Canva, they could click on it if you gave them the image. But on social media, it doesn't work like that.
Okay.
That's a short answer to try and explain. I can try and explain.
That's okay.
But it just doesn't work like that.
Short's good.
So the post that went up today, the share the knowledge post or the expert, and the beginner's guide or the problem solver. So the biggest way to kind of tell the difference between these two, in my mind, is the beginner's guide is really answering one question, and the immediate answer is your product. And so when you look at the images of these, you can really tell they're a beginner's guide. So here's the example that we used in the lesson. Are you always looking for a pen? Here's my answer. You can't stand your bag? Here's my answer. Did you pick up the wrong bag again? Here's your answer. And so the whole point of these is it is literally one question or statement of the thing that's wrong, that the answer to that thing that you say is legitimately your product. That's what a beginner's guide is. It's like you're introducing someone to your product. The reason you need my product is because of X thing. It is one question, one statement that you are illustrating with your product. That's the beginner's guide. The share the knowledge is usually a list, although it doesn't have to be, or it is an article. It is something that's going to take some time to go through. It's not one thing. It is a bunch of things, okay? And so sometimes that might be like this. This is a list. 5 ways to stay hydrated while traveling. This is educating your people. A share the knowledge is showing that you have knowledge to share with them, that you have a way of helping them, right? So this will be a list of things. 5 ways to stay hydrated while traveling. And one of those things might be your product, okay? It may not be, but it could be. This one is 7 tips for surviving your son or daughter's deployment. This is taking them to a blog post. The blog post is the big thing that is telling them all the information. That 100% works for a share the knowledge. 5 ways to fight for joy. Again, we've got a list. She's sharing her knowledge of ways that you can bring joy into your life every single day, right? This is not one thing. This is 5 things. This is not one thing. This is 7 things. This is not one thing. This is 4 things. And you notice in none of these pictures do I see a product.
Right.
Your product might be part of the answer, but we are not showing that product. 10 gift ideas for Christian women. So I don't have a product picture in any of these. There's a reason. The point is not to share just your product. The point is to share knowledge, and your product might be a small piece of that. In the beginner's guide, the point is to show your product.
Yeah. Okay. So in other words, translating that very succinct description, I can put always losing your earrings. If I saw, but it has to be something you sell on in your website or wherever. So I could say, always forgetting your earrings. And then my little travel kit will be the answer. And there'll be a picture of that, because they'll have their emergency earrings in there.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of the ear nuts, and I haven't yet. It would be so simple to just take some pictures, charge $1 or $2 for a little bag of 10 and stick it on the website. I haven't done that yet, but that could be another one of these. Question, losing your earrings, they fall out of your ear, whatever, and the answer is the ear nuts. And then the third thing, which I'm going to put on there, is tarnished jewelry, and then a polishing cloth, which I have purchased, but I haven't yet done the stuff. So those are all beginner guides. One question, my product's the answer.
And so to think about here, so I want to point something out. So do you see how on this one, are you always looking for a pen? And I can immediately see a pen goes right here. On particularly your emergency earring kit, they may not immediately understand that's what it is.
What it is, yeah.
So that could intrigue them, or it could just make them go, So especially for your emergency earring kit, I could see someone going, oh, she's just telling me to have a pouch. So you need to make sure that your picture makes it very clear that that's what it is. So if it was me and I was trying to do this post, beginner's guide for your emergency earring kit, I would open the kit and have it opened in the picture. And you need to put big earrings, whatever your most big, obvious earrings are that you sell. Because a lot of your earrings are small, and I don't think they'll stand out in the kit. You need those to be really, really obvious in the picture. Does that make sense?
Can you send me some of yours?
Earrings?
She has fabulous big earrings. They're all clip-on. But you can carry those off. Yeah, there you go. Yes, ma'am.
Big dangly
I'll do
pair.
my best. I might have to put something behind them to make them show up more. Yeah, so cool.
Put a cleaning cloth. Sparkly cloth.
Yeah. Okay, that's really good advice, because the image
Well,
is going to be.
it's good
really
advice, but I can't come up with 4 questions to ask for why you're
You only
going to need,
two
2.
questions.
But I still can't think of 2 questions to ask for why you're going to need
All
a
right.
lovely.
How about you're shopping and this kid is going bonkers? Okay, crying baby,
their bum
and
smacked.
then a picture of your lovey. Unhappy, whatever, picture of the lovey. A purple face, crying baby. Are you ripping your hair out? Been there, done that. Shopping, hate shopping.
Does your child need comforted? Picture of a lovey.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
calmer.
Is your child sensitive? Picture of a lovey.
Yep.
Child going off to school for the first time? Picture of a lovey.
Or I'd be using the lovey.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You call it daycare there? Okay, so I was thinking of when I took my daughter to daycare, so I guess that's not school.
Yeah, thank
First day of daycare, picture of a lovey. Okay, so these are things that, gonna be away from mom, picture of a lovey.
Yeah.
Going to the doctor?
Grandma lives far away, picture of a lovey.
Yep.
Right? Because your grandma gives you this toy. Oh, grandma gave this to me, right? This kind of a thing, right?
Yep.
Or your daughter's thinking, my mom gave this to her. It's so special, that kind of thing. So these are the kind of relationships. You have to think about your people and your relationships. We just talked about this in the e-commerce elevator. So
we did.
Why do these people want to buy your lovey? What reason, what event would happen in their life that would make them need this? I think going to daycare is an excellent example.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe they're going to be traveling.
Mm.
There's another
and,
going on a car trip. You've got a new thing. What event where would they be going? What would they be doing that they would need this? And then that becomes your question.
Yep.
And you don't always have to make it a question. You can definitely make a statement and it can still work, as I showed with you can't stand your bag, because I'm not even sure how to formulate that into a question. But I think a lot of times a question is going to be more powerful. The point here is to get them to go, yes, that's me. And if it's a question, they want to provide an answer. Does that make sense? Whereas if it's a statement, they're not necessarily going to identify. So
Yes.
if possible, use a question instead of a statement, although a statement can also work. Does that make
I
sense?
can think of one for the bag, for the floppy bag. You would say, tired of floppy grocery bags or something like that.
Yeah.
You know,
I would identify with that.
saggy. You
Like,
Yeah.
if someone
saggy.
said, tired of floppy grocery bags, I'd be like, no, that's not a problem I have.
Yeah.
In other words, it's when you're loading your groceries yourself.
But how do you make that short? Like, because we want to try and stay like 5 words, 6 maybe. We want to keep it as few words as possible. And I think in order to describe that situation in a question would almost take more words. I was actually super impressed with Barbara when she came up with this. Because I was like,
yeah.
5 words, you managed to explain that whole situation.
Yep. Amazing. We need copywriting help from her in the group. You usually come up with something though, Elise.
Yeah.
Right. That's really good.
Saying, that's what you've got. That's what you've got.
So, the blog thing, I'm just thinking about the mechanics of it. So in the copy with this list, I'll say, like, if it's on Instagram, I can use my LinkedIn thing, click link on bio and have a link in there. Like, I've got those already actually made. They're just not have their button turned on for a lot of them, like necklace length, or it's not really a problem, but like allergies and things like that to metal. I think I have some of those in there. But when I'm somewhere else, like Facebook, I can actually put the link in the copy, right?
So let's
let you do that.
A little bit about that. I was going to pull up an example.
Because Carrie's blog post crazy. She's got lots of them.
That everybody knows we're talking about. So if you're on Instagram or TikTok, this is a problem, okay? So on Instagram, there is a link in your bio. That's what this is called. This is the link in my bio, which is the link that shows my, okay? In your post, you cannot put a link. If you put a link, you can't click it. So you're trying to have someone copy and paste a link. No one's going to do that. So instead, on a post, you put click link in bio as your call to action, and then put the little parentheses with your handle. And you see how when I scroll over that, it's clickable? So when I click on that, what happens is it takes me to my bio, and then I can click this link. So you only get one link, and this is true on both Instagram and TikTok. And what you do is you create a page. This is like your social media landing page. So I like to do go. You can do welcome as your handle. So this is go. And then it gives you buttons. So the things that you're going to be talking about. So I don't actually have a lot of different ones on my Carrie Clips channel. So let's go ahead and do the My Scheduled Biz one so that I can show you what I mean. So here I put all different colored buttons. And then on my post, I will actually say, click the red button to go to YouTube. And I'll put a little red heart next to it. So it's a visual cue. So it'll be like, click link in bio, click the red button to watch my YouTube videos. Click link in bio, click the orange button to enter the monthly giveaway. Click link in bio, click the green button to ask Elise a question. Click link in bio, click the purple button to join a social media challenge. And so the colors make these things stand out. Now, because my background is white and I have very like black and white is what I use mostly, I can do this. If you've got a weird colored background or something and it's going to make it look wonky, don't do this. Then you want to do something more like what I do on my Carrie Clips brand, where it is, just my brand colors, right? Black and white.
Yeah, contrasting back and forth. Yeah, it makes me want to cry because I don't know how to make a landing page. Right now, I don't even know what to do with TikTok.
So, Madeline, okay, so you're on WooCommerce. So on WooCommerce, all you're going to do is make a page. The same as making any other page on your site. You literally just go to pages, make a page, and then that's it. Then you just make the page.
Really?
Yeah. Same
You
thing.
told me that, but it just.
Go make a page on Shopify. Now with Shopify, if you want to make these buttons that actually look like buttons, you can either do coding, which I just heard everybody moan, or you can.
Well, you've got to learn it.
Then
We all have to learn it.
Okay. Then you can go to customize and create the buttons in the customize section instead. But I actually have a YouTube video. I don't think that one came out yet. It might have come out. It might be the next video that's coming out about website building, where I teach you how to make these buttons in Shopify, and I give you a code that you can use that's simple to manipulate, and I tell you how. I think it's the next video that's coming out. So if you're on Shopify and you want to make a quote unquote landing page like this that's got the buttons, then I have a tutorial about that. I also have a tutorial in the Metricool playlist if you're using Metricool that tells you how to make one of these pages as well, because you can do that through Metricool. But yeah, Madeline, yours is actually the easiest one. If you're on WordPress Commerce, making this page is the easiest on that platform.
Okay.
Feel better?
Madeline.
The words
my
have
role
been in
model.
here, but the belief system is messing with me. So, so Metricool is more complicated, is what you're saying, to do a little more than WooCommerce.
Well, I'm talking specifically about making this link page.
Yeah, the link page. Yeah, a link page slash landing page slash
That brings me to an additional question that I know people are probably asking if they're watching this. And that is, why don't I just use Linktree? If you don't know what Linktree is, just to pretend, whatever, okay. Those of you who use Linktree, the reason that I would recommend using your actual website instead is because if they go to your website, you can now pixel and track those people on your Google Analytics and everywhere else. If you do it on Linktree or Metricool, because this is the same thing, they are not going to your actual website. They are going to a link provided by Metricool or Linktree, which means you cannot track them. That is why you should do it on your website instead of on Linktree or Metricool. But if you don't have a website, or you don't have the tech skills to do it and you don't want to hire someone or whatever, or maybe you don't have the time, although I would suggest that having the time, this should be a priority, then you could do it on your Metricool. But ideally, if you have a website, you'd be better off doing it on your website.
I feel like maybe I can do it. This will come under the elevator week. This is what this week is. This is into a patchwork quilt job week for me. I have different jobs every week to do that Elise assigned, we agreed on. Yeah, it's elevator week. So I'm going to call the landing page elevator stuff.
And like I said, well, this is a popular one to use. Some people will do a different one for each social media platform, which can be smart because it makes it easier to track which page people landed on. So like you can make one for TikTok, one for Instagram, one for whatever. I've never seen anyone else use Go. I don't know why I do that. That was just an Elise thing, but Welcome would be a popular one. You could call it Instagram, whatever. So it'd be your URL / Instagram or IG or Go or Welcome, whatever you want it to be. Go crazy, have fun.
Go or okay. Be welcome. All right. Food for thought.
All right. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns, ladies? We've got about 15 minutes because we were late starting.
Well,
That's pretty good this week. I can't say
actually,
that
I didn't even print notes.
Sorry?
I have so many copies of them. I have it pretty much memorized now. But the notes are extremely helpful if you haven't done it before or you're just on your second or third go round.
This is the last session that will exact same content. I'll be redoing everything for the next session.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
All right.
don't
Well-
say that.
I'm going to send the video challenge re-recorded for the next session also. We'll see if that happens. I actually have some brand new products for carry clips that nobody has seen yet. And they're still boxed up. I haven't even really gotten them out or done anything with them yet. So I'm thinking for the next video challenge, new products. So
Madeline, you're going to have to come back next time.
you guys,
I probably will. I probably will.
you guys
Because I
know,
don't have a year's worth of videos.
you guys know
Yeah.
that every single time we end up with new information and different things because
Well, I figure it's a bit like Weight Watchers. It sort of keeps me motivated.
It's you have oh darn it. It's a commitment, and you have what is it when you have a coach?
accountability.
I can't think of it.
Yes,
Accountability.
that's what it
Thank
is.
you. Yes.
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 So I'm going to say something. It's going to make it sound like really bad, but I'm going to say it anyways. I actually think the value in the challenges is the accountability. Not that what I'm
Yes.
teaching is bad or not helpful or anything, because clearly it is helpful. But I really think the big value is the one-on-one, the getting feedback, the coming to the Q&A calls.
Yeah.
That is the
Yeah.
biggest point of these challenges.
I think
had-
that's the
have an
best bit,
idea.
is
Yeah.
the talking to other people too, and the being able to bounce it off each other.
I have had
And-
so many people tell me that I need to turn this into a course and I need to sell it as a course and I need to not be doing the challenges constantly and blah, 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 whatever. But I really think the challenge element of it is what makes it valuable.
Yeah.
And I think the people that don't
Absolutely.
come to this part of it are missing out,
Yeah.
because this part is more valuable, I think, than just watching
It's-
the videos.
It is huge, because where do you get almost one-on-one or 1-to-2 or 1-to-3 coaching for free?
Yeah.
You know, come on.
Yeah, and
So even in the
you
group,
do
though,
learn
like,
so much more here
oh yeah,
in this
Yep.
bit than you do just by watching the videos.
Well, also,
I mean, anybody
you guys ask
sit there and
questions.
watch it. Yeah.
I have to answer additional things. So you actually get to steal more information out of my brain doing it this way.
so good. It's so good. And I was going to say that in the group itself, when we do posts, we can ask questions in there. If you don't need, having some kind of crisis, anyway, you can ask questions in the hashtag help. And today I got an idea from Pam, one of the other participants. She posted a really nice, clean behind the scenes and intro from basically one photograph of her with a bead shop worth of beads behind her, hanging on a pegboard or slat wall. I mean, it looks like she owns a bead shop. So that gave me the idea. And then she has her husband there going, no, get rid of some of these. Well, mine's going to be, my husband gave me a book on torch enameling that I wanted for my birthday or something. And then he put a note with it. Don't burn down the house. So we'll have him there with the book, and then mine will be, maybe I can't decide how I'm gonna have the hole I burned in the rug, or just me with the torch going or something, or a fire extinguisher, whatever. but that was going to be my behind the scenes, but I thought of another one. I keep thinking of more.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and
because of the group.
you get inspired by the other people in the group, because, and I was just talking about this in the e-commerce elevator today. Everybody's brain works differently. So when I assign something to one of my VAs, they're going to go about it a different way than I would have. And then I can go ahead and do it my own way too. And you end up with twice as many ideas, because everybody's brain works differently. And so they hear the exact same lesson and come up with different ideas from it. And you now versus you 3 months ago, when you took this before, are in a different place, and you'll come up with different ideas different times you take it.
Yep.
It kind of mulls around in there, and then you never know what's going to pop out.
No, that's right. And I often
Just
look
like
at
when I
posts that I wrote and change them. Yeah.
oh my gosh. So yeah, I even wrote down that idea so I wouldn't forget it. Or I put
Yep.
it in a comment or something because I don't want to
Yeah.
forget that.
Or you see something that somebody's posted and you think, oh yeah, if I could do something like that or change it or, modify it or something. And yeah.
And then
it's
what
good.
are the odds? Like I remember once I posted a little girl with for a static electricity day, and Carrie, you asked if you could steal it. Well, for holidays, what are the odds that somebody's going to be on my social media and your social media that doesn't know either one of us?
Yeah,
Use
that's
it,
right.
for goodness sake. I stole it from the holiday people or whatever. I used it.
Yeah.
So yeah. You can either take it outright when it's something generic like that, or you can tweak it to your product.
Yeah. So the chances of them both seeing at the same time are fairly minuscule.
Well,
I have a million more questions.
Okay, so two, right? Even if they do the same thing at the same time, does it really matter? Most of the time, it doesn't matter at all. Because yours is going to be different than the other person who used the same idea, okay? Second of all, if you're in two different industries.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, who cares? Like, it's not even close to the same anyway. You have the same customers. Sometimes, even if you're in the industry, you don't have the same customers.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I know I don't.
Yeah. Very, very unusual that, you would.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Looks like we have someone else joining us. I have an idea as well.
Somebody with a rather large foot.
Foot or hand. The foot. So
we have just a couple. Does anybody have any other questions or concerns?
No.
I can't.
About it. Yep. Maybe Luna's got a question.
All right. Well, then we are going to call it quits, guys. I mean, we had about 55 minutes or something on this call.
Yep, which is pretty good. Yeah, thank you.
Actually, so if you are in the 7-minute a day social media challenge, there are 2 more days of posts that are completely free. If you do all the posts completed during this week, that will get you a whole month of posting. So that's a free challenge. The videos will be available until Monday. After Monday, those videos will go down. So you will no longer have access to that free portion. If you want access to those videos, or if you want the next 2 weeks of videos and 3 weeks of one-on-one help, then you need to join the paid challenge. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you guys next week.
You should already have the payment in your bank.
Yep.
So you should be right.